Okay, so I wanted to do this video for a long time. I never knew why I should do it or when I should be doing it or how I should be doing it. But I feel like I got all of these questions answered, when and how. I think how and when whenever I uploaded in YouTube. But most importantly is the why. I needed to find a reason why I wanted to voice my own opinion on why I think people should be worried about being fat. And what happened to me today was the inspiration for this video. So I in the morning went to do some groceries. I went to Target, got me some food, and then I put them in plastic bags and left. Came back home, and I had to go upstairs to come back here to my apartment. And what happened to me? I could not believe it. So as I was going up and down, I gasped out. I was huffing and puffing, and it wasn't the normal like huffing and puffing some people do when they do when they're not active. I was doing like, and I was like, this never happened to me before. I have asthma. I take my asthma medications, so I know when it is related to asthma or not. But man, even when I never took my asthma pills, I would never huff and puff and be demanding for air after just going up and down and up from stairs. That never happened to me until today, And I was always an active kid up until 4 years ago when I had a shoulder injury that messed me up. And then 2 years later, I had to do surgery for my shoulder. And I was just not active since that injury. And as time progressed, I just got fat. I went from 180 pounds to what I weigh today, which is 260 pounds. So I was like, no, 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 no. I have to change. I need to change. And I guess it's better to start today than tomorrow or after tomorrow or never, you know? But why should people be afraid of being fat? It's not like I'm gonna die anytime soon because I'm 260, right? But I think there are a couple of things that people misunderstand about being fat. Now, I'm not gonna try to educate you about obesity. I think everybody knows about obesity, why it's dangerous. I don't think you need to be a doctor to to understand why obesity is bad and why you should try to combat obesity. And I'm not trying to excuse your fatness for not being successful. The wording is totally not there. I'm not trying to give you an excuse for not being successful or you're failing because you're fat. I can name you 10 lawyers who are fat, 10 engineers, 10 athletes who are fat, musicians, actors, Jonah Hill, for example, that are fat and successful and they're living life good, right? So I'm not going to try to say why, oh, if you're fat, you're not going to be successful or you're going to fail pretty soon. But there are three things that I believe personally not a lot of people talk about when it comes to fatness. And the first one I think is more obvious than the other two, and it's your long term health. I think people underestimate their long term health. Like I'm huffing and puffing and I'm 20 years old, about to turn 21. I should be theoretically in my prime or pretty close to my physical prime, and yet I am in the worst shape of my life. What the hell would I look like if I kept the same body weight, the same activities that I have been doing for the past 3, 4 years? What if I decide to keep that and I'm 60? Forget 60, 50, 40, God forbid 70 or 80. I think I'll be walking with an oxygen tank. I don't want to be walking with an oxygen tank at all. I don't want to. And I surely don't want to be walking with a crane or with whatever the walking assistant thing is called, the metal rod that have wheels in it. I don't know what they call it. I don't want to be walking in that. I already have bad hip issues, right? I'm not very flexible with my hips. They're very stiff. It's always been like that, right? Just because I probably sit a lot and lay a lot in bed. So, yep. But um, people underestimate the long term health. They think, oh, I'm fat right now. My knees are not crying. My back's not crying. My lungs are not crying. But man, if you keep that shit up in your like 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 or 80, you are going to suffer. And I don't think anybody deserves to get suffer because they kept their fatness. And sure, you can lose your weight, but it's going to be very hard to lose your weight. The second thing, which I think is a little bit more important to discuss about, is your mental health. Now, you see, when I got that injury, I would be a liar if I said that didn't affect me mentally, that didn't make me sad, that didn't make me feel worthless. Which is another topic I want to talk about later. How athletes are not humans; they're commodities. Especially looking at what is happening in the NBA and the UFC. Those are my two favorite leagues. And my God, I don't. A lot of people don't treat these people like human. Well, that's a topic for another day. But when I got that injury, all of a sudden, like I, I just wasn't there anymore. And I try to cope upon it. I try to be like, oh, I was never going to be in the NBA or playing in a high level league because of my shoulder injury, right? So I try to like cope with it, but like every now and then, once in a while, I'm like, man, I wish that shit never happened to me. And that made me develop bad habits and introduce me to bad habits. And, it exposed something about me, which is shit. Like, the shoulder thing happened, and I haven't been doing anything about it. Now that I sit about it and think about it, I rarely did therapy for it, physical therapy. I did surgery for it, but I didn't really listen to the doctors a lot because guess what? I was a dumb 17-year-old. That doesn't excuse the fact that I did something stupid, but like, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But now that I sit here, the fact that I couldn't run for like an hour straight, like how I used to do a couple of years ago, it makes me feel sad. The fact that I can't do one plate, I can't bench press 135 makes me feel sad. The fact that I can't box like how I used to do before. Granted, I was never the best boxer, but like I had a little bit of sauce, you know what I'm saying? I had a little bit of a little bit of thud in me. And now I can't do because God forbid, whenever I spar, shit, I would gas the hell out of I would be gassing. I would be like, I don't. That shit affects me mentally, and that has not only affected me with like athletic activities, but it also has affected me with work. It has affected me a lot with school. It has affected me a lot when it comes to my relationship with food. This is something that until recently I have to now think about my relationship with food. I always thought food is food, but the scary thing about food addiction is it is an addiction that whether you like it or not, you need it. You don't need drugs. You don't need smoking cigarettes. You don't need a vape. You don't need alcohol, but you need food. You need food. You need a little bit of sugar at least. You don't need a lot of sugar, but you do need some sugar. You do need some protein. You do need some carbohydrates, right? And especially if you live with family or you don't want to throw stuff that you've bought, you have this delicious Doritos bag, this beautiful caramel cake, and staring at you. And, you feel sad or you feel tired and you just say, fuck it, man. You know, but mental health is something that people don't think about when it comes to the negative effects being fat has on you. And the third thing is not reaching your prime. I think people are too afraid of reaching their best. They're afraid of saying, hey, I've been at the top at least once in my life. I could say that I climbed the hill, I climbed the mountain. Some people they don't want to do that because they're afraid that, hey, they might die on their path to the mountain. Now, I know I'm exaggerating it comparing to like climbing Mount Everest, but the truth is that I think if you're fat, you have to ask yourself, like, dude, what if you weren't fat? Like, seriously, even if you have everything going well for you, why don't you want to reach the best version of yourself? Why can't you be both rich and healthy? You know, I'm not asking you to be lean. I'm not asking you to be shredded. Obviously, I want you to keep some fat. Having some fat is healthy. But like, if you have like me, like a beer belly, like I have tight shoulders, tight biceps and triceps. You know, I look okay. Like even still at 260, if you see me from chest up to like neck, because I got a little bit of double chin, obviously. But even with the double chin, I don't look 260. But you look at me and I feel pregnant, especially with my love handles. Damn. And I I I I don't know. I'm tired of not reaching my prime. And I think if people were to see to at least attempt, not only because I don't think it's as hard as people say it is, and I'm gonna prove it. But if people are more willing to reach their prime, I think things are gonna be much better. Um, so yeah, that's all I have. I hope I kind of started a good discussion in the comment section down below. Um, what I want to say at the end is I am going to document my journey from losing weight. How much weight do I want to lose? I want to lose 80 pounds. I want to go from 260 to 180. And I'm going to do it the healthy way. I'm not going to be a dummy who cuts it like I am a UFC fighter cutting for to make weight. I've done this mistake before. It has hurt me. I don't want to do it. Okay, so I'm going to do it the smart way, the healthy way. I know there's going to be a lot of hiccups, but it is what it is. Um, I will be doing a video once a week. I think I'm going to upload Thursdays. I'm not sure because I do have another channel. It's called Omario Comics. So if you're interested in that, the link to the link to the comic book channel is in the description if you're interested in that. And then yeah, that's all I have for today's video. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.